first from KARK-4, your weather authority.
You know, it is May the 1st, 2015. It is the start of the 34th annual Toad Suck Days, and it is going to be a fantastic weekend weather-wise. And for the first time in a lot of folks' recent memory, it's not going to rain up here in Conway any of the next 2 or 3 days. Certainly good news for folks wanting to take in a little bit of toad action. And the weather this evening is going to be excellent. Your forecast first for Little Rock, clear skies overnight tonight, 67 as the sun goes down. We're going to start your Saturday a little chilly, right around 50 degrees. KARK-4 News at 6 starts right now.
Now, from the station you count on for local news that matters, this is KARK-4 News at 6.
Because safety matters.
Back into society, we want them to be happy and healthy and not engaging in crime because that affects the rest of us.
Legislators looking at access to addiction and mental health treatment as a way to keep Arkansans out of a cycle that puts them in prison and then back out on the streets. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Katz.
Good evening, I'm Bob Clausen. KARK-4's Marcy Manley joining us now. Marcy, the Behavior Health Services Access Task Force meeting today for the first time, and they've got a lot to do before the end of the year. So they've got about, what, 8 months or so?
Yeah, Bob, today's meeting likely the briefest this group will see. Made up of lawmakers, advocates, and agency heads, it has a big issue to tackle. Those who help parolees and felons re-entering into society say resources the majority of these people need to stay out of the recidivism cycle are overcrowded and underfunded. This panel of task force members will work inside state walls on how to keep former prisoners from ending up back behind these walls.
And so when they get back into society, we want them to be happy and healthy and not engaging in crime because that affects the rest of us.
Instead of looking at tougher sentences, the task force talking about access to health care, specifically substance abuse and mental health needs.
It would be so much cheaper if we could deal with that on the front end.
Carol Baxter works in the substance abuse field where challenges are the rule.
Finding the resources to help them do something about it.
According to Arkansas Community Correction, there are 53,000 parolees and probationers at a given time. 80% have substance abuse issues. Of those 42,000, another 20 to 30% also have mental health needs. The entire budget for those services for ACC, $1.5 million a year.
Under the traditional system, we just give these folks $100 and a bus ticket and say good luck.
While the private option has offered an opportunity for those newly released from prison to sign up for health care coverage, access to an office visit is far from secured.
As far as I know, only 2 DBHS providers in Arkansas, one in Little Rock and one in Hot Springs, who take private insurance.
Without a way to pay for these behavioral health services and competition for the slot stiff, the task force aims to make treatment the tactic to prevent felons from landing back behind bars. Now, according to the Department of Human Services, it does contract with 8 providers who also offer subcontracts for substance abuse treatment. 7 of those accept Medicaid and private plans, but DHS couldn't confirm how many of those accept the private option plans currently available. Back to you.
Marcy, thanks very much. Now to a developing story, bring you a shooting on the capital city's southwest side.
That's right. KARK-4's Drew Petrimo is live at the scene with the latest tonight. Drew.
Well, guys, we are just off I-30 near the Geyer Springs exit. Little Rock police called out here around 4:30 this afternoon when someone from this business you see right behind me, it's called TCC Auto, went to a neighbor's house with a gunshot wound to the shoulder. Now, that victim has since been taken to UAMS. We're told the injuries are not life-threatening. Police have been here. They actually just pulled off. And what they tell me so far from their investigation is that there appears to be some sort of an argument between 2 customers at the business that led to one of them getting shot. Police, by the time they left, had not recovered a weapon and still said they were sorting through witness interviews to determine exactly what happened. Still some investigating here that has to be done, but no arrests, no weapons found. 1 person sent to the hospital, gunshot wound to the shoulder. Those injuries, again, non-life-threatening. That's the latest from here in Little Rock. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Drew. The Fordyce Police Department on the lookout for a woman tonight they say is wanted for breaking and entering as well as using stolen checks for Walmart gift cards. Take a look here. If you think you have seen this woman right here in the photo, you're asked to call Fordyce Police. And meanwhile, in Cabot, police are saying a high school student is recovering tonight after being hit by a truck on her bike. This was on the way to school this morning. Now, the accident is shown here in this Facebook photo from a viewer. Now, it happened at the crosswalk near Lincoln and Pine Streets around 7:40 this morning. Now, according to police, the driver had accidentally let off the brake and bumped into that girl. She did suffer just a minor scrape on her leg. The driver was cited for careless driving.
New technology is making it easier for people to videotape the actions of law enforcement and hold them accountable. We've seen this time and time again. Take a look at this video from 2011. It shows a man being punched in the face by an off-duty police officer working security at a Little Rock restaurant. Charges against the man taking punches were dropped after the video surfaced, and the case is now the subject of a federal civil rights lawsuit. The concerns over allegations of police brutality have been thrust in the national discourse by more instances of alleged police brutality caught on video, and new technology is making that easier. ACLU has been helping to develop some of the many programs allowing people to record the actions of law enforcement.
It's certainly very helpful when you have an instant recording device where you can take a picture of what's going on, and hopefully it can be used as evidence either to prove that something bad happened or to exonerate the police.
Little Rock Police Department's Lieutenant Sidney Allen says so long as people don't interfere with police work or resist arrest, they're within their rights to document actions of law enforcement, and he says it's something that often benefits them as well.
We are your local election headquarters. Today, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee put out this new YouTube video. It's called Nailed Shut, touting his record as a Republican governor of Arkansas in the then heavily Democratic state. Huckabee is expected to make a major announcement in Hope, his hometown, this Tuesday. Many are speculating he may be angling for a presidential run again.
When you take a trip to the Waffle House, rarely, if ever, do you expect to see this. Oops. Because health matters, KARK-TV's Josh Berry gets to the bottom of where and why this happened. Josh, you got some answers?
Yeah, Bob, I've been to that Waffle House that's in question myself more than a handful of times. It's the Waffle House on Rebsamen Park Road, just off of Cantrell in Little Rock. You can see it there on where the map is. Some say they'd have a hard time going back, especially when you saw it firsthand.
Tuesday night, almost Wednesday morning, this unwelcome guest made a quick stop out in the open for a meal at Waffle House. It still gets to her.
I'm sorry. It was horrible.
Kellenise Parker and 3 others briefly enjoyed a meal at the Waffle House on Rebsamen Park Road off Cantrell in Little Rock before Kellenise says she saw at least 4 rats.
I pulled out my camera and I started videoing because I was like, I don't know that anyone would believe this if they didn't see it.
But there's no denying.
There's no mistaking that was a rat. That was my first time at this location, and it will be my last at any location.
Friday, we talked to the manager here. He says he's aware of what happened and didn't deny it. In fact, he asked what restaurant is totally immune to a rat infestation. The Arkansas Department of Health even told us rats are crafty and can find ways in through the most secure kitchens. Because of Kellenise's complaint and video, they did send an environmental health specialist in Friday afternoon to investigate. We don't know how this guy got in, but for most, that doesn't matter.
I just had a cup of coffee, and they were sickened. They were absolutely sickened. One of them stated that this was actually her favorite location, and she was just mortified. She said she'd never go back.
Now, we did officially hear from Waffle House late this afternoon. They said, in part, we were made aware of this situation 5 days ago and immediately contacted an exterminator. The exterminator has been out to the restaurant 3 times, including yesterday, to investigate and eliminate the problem. We also have the report from the health department's visit from this afternoon. They found no evidence of any rats. Back to you.
There you go. Josh Berry getting to the bottom of that.
Josh.
When a 6-year-old girl learned that her leg would have to be amputated naturally, as you can imagine, she was devastated.
First, just seeing her courage in this situation, her and her mom both, their courage to make this decision, it's so encouraging for me.
Today, how she's learning to stand tall without it.
And you couldn't ask for nicer weather for the start of the 34th annual Toad Suck Days. We're live in Conway. We're going to talk all about what's going on this weekend and if this great weather is going to stick around. But in Little Rock today, it was a chilly start in the low 50s, topped out in the mid-70s. We're going to let you know what's ahead over the next couple days and when perhaps our next chance of rain is in just a couple minutes.
From the station that brings you local news that matters, this is KARK 4 News at 6 in high definition. With Bob Clausen, Ashley Katz, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Aaron Peters with your Razorback Nation report.